as you see, there's been a lot of changes facility-wise going on, and updating everything as far as, or completing everything as far as our fine arts and whatever we have left for the field house and all of that kind of stuff is being completed. So they'll be working on that, as Dr. Henn said, all the way up probably till almost time for the students to get here. So hopefully all that will be done. The agenda for this week, we've had the breakfast. We're in the 9-11:30 session. Hopefully I don't run over. We'll break for lunch at 11:30, and then the rest of the afternoon we'll be working in our classrooms. Ms. Harden, can you, or Mr. Carroll, can you stroll down on that to the 4th? To the 4th, we're doing our carousels again, which from last year has been condensed a lot. We got Ms. West talking about money matters. I'll be talking about school operations. Mr. Mays, 6-step plan. Go down a little more, Mr. Carroll. Mr. Bates over the handbook, and then Ms. Harden over the policies and procedures. And then we'll do lunch, and then the rest of that afternoon you'll be able to work in your classrooms. And then, of course, on the 5th, we'll be working in the classrooms till 9, and then Dr. Henn's going to come and speak to us. And then after that, you'll be able to work in your classrooms. Then on the 6th, we don't have to report till 10 because, you know, we run open house from 1 to 6. And then we'll send this out if we have. I think we've already sent out the revised one so you can see your groups. All right, thank you. Any questions on the agenda? Can we let's see, about 2 or 3. Y'all come on in, we're gonna get a couple more chairs. I'll grow this place, Is that chair open right there? Or you okay, just a few housekeeping changes I want to get to before I get to my own spiel. I sent everyone out an email concerning the copiers being moved and placed in. You have one in the office where it's always been. You have another one, if you go through the office and open the door like where the counselors are, you have one there. You have 2 in the media center. Every teacher has received, and it should be hooked up by now. If not, just let us know so we can get it hooked up. Every teacher has received a new printer. Digital office will be here to train us on, all the copiers are brand new, and digital office will be here to train us on the copiers and also on the printers. The printers are not the normal printers like we all been used to, where you run out of ink and they run on toner. So they're sort of like a small copier. So pretty much you'll be able to do, now I haven't started one, I don't know how fast they are, I don't know, but you'll be able to do some of your printing right there on your printer in your classroom. We used to frown against that because of buying cartridges and they cost so much, but the guy at digital office told me those toners last for up to 5,000 copies. So stuff that you need to do, now they ask that we don't do volume printing, but you can do more printing than we used to do. So a lot of your printing you can do right there at your computer on these new printers, and they run on toner instead of cartridges. So if you need a toner, that means you ran 5,000 copies. I don't see how anybody in high school would need 5,000 copies for anything. So what we did, we moved the copiers because last year, quite frankly, when we had them distributed through the building, we had too many hands going into them, and they were getting broken and things were getting broken. So we moved them in locations so if they get jammed, we have just certain people to go in there and unjam them so everybody's not digging in them, so that you know, we can keep them up and running as much as possible. So that was the purpose of, so with the new printers and that capability that you have in your classrooms. The only thing those copiers don't do is, you know, if you need staples and hole punch, then you need to come to the other copiers. But other than that, it should do everything else you need. The front office will be open all the time. You know, the media center, I'll be here. If the media center is locked and you need to get in here, get in there for some reason, I'll be here to let you in there. But these two in the office here will always be stocked and they'll always be available, okay? So any questions or concerns about the copiers and the relocation? Can we give Ms. Watts a chair? So any questions about the copies? All right, anything happened over summer? Anybody would like to share? Anything happened over summer? And anybody would like to share something positive, something exciting?
Oh, I will share something.
Share something with me.
I had to get a new car because my Toyota just could not take the deer anymore. So I bid it farewell and got a new car. And I hope the new car will not encounter any deer.
Pray that that new car. What type of new car did you get?
A Nissan.
A Nissan. Okay, good. Good. Well, congratulations. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
I got a new granddaughter.
Well, congratulations. New granddaughter. What's her name?
Leah Elizabeth.
Leah Elizabeth. All right.
Good name.
New granddaughter. Outstanding. Outstanding. Anyone else? Well, Miss Sheffield got married. Yeah, it was right before the summer, so as you know, Miss Meeks, now she's Miss Sheffield. Congratulations to Miss Sheffield on her being a newlywed. Anything else?
The medical department is very happy to have a teacher.
Miss, listen, y'all have no idea. That's a whole nother conversation. I looked high and low and just, math is just, well, good math teachers are very, very hard to find. And we were, you know, Miss Walls, y'all know Miss Walls was the ram in the bush for us last year. She came in and did a full-time sub for us, so she's not really new. Ms. Walls is one of us, and Ms. Watson actually, y'all have no idea how many math teachers I interviewed. I've interviewed them all from retiring from one state, wanting to come over here, to throwing clipboards and cussing at kids, to all of that, and we was like, no. Then we put the math department on extended day, which they were really, really excited about that. And I was heading home. I called Ms. Watson maybe a couple months ago and didn't hear anything, and I was thinking, well, there's another one. I had one young lady, all of them had coming in, they called, took other jobs and things like that, and called Ms. Watson, didn't hear anything back, emailed her. I thought, okay, well, she's probably taking another job as well. I'm driving home, my phone rang, and I see a number from Dublin. I'm like, who is this from Dublin? Almost didn't answer it, y'all. True story. Almost didn't answer it because now they, you know, started this telemarketing stuff. For some reason, they've opened the cell phones back up. So it was a number I didn't recognize, and I almost didn't answer it. But you always need to follow that little voice. Now, we all get that little voice in the back of our minds telling us, don't go down that street, don't open that door, and things like that. That little voice, so you better answer it. I answered it, and it was Miss Watson. And we got her in the next day, and as you see, we got her hired on. So we're very appreciative to have Miss Watson as well as all of our other new teachers, Miss Williams and Ms. Broxton and Mr. Watts and am I forgetting anybody else? Oh yeah, Ms. Giddens not new, she's just new to us. But I'm very happy to have them as part of our faculty and staff. But I'm telling you, you talking about the 23rd hour on this math. I mean, and math was just on this emotional roller coaster all summer.
Awesome.
You're teaching this, you're teaching that, you extended day, you're doing this, you're doing that. And just a few minutes ago before I came in here, I sent you the final teaching assignments. And if you don't have any questions for me, you can send it out to everybody else.
Coach,
Sir.
Coach Hope and Coach East could probably get better info than me, but Bullet, Quinn Poole has made the USA Junior Olympic team. He ran out in Eugene, Oregon on NBC and stuff. And I was reading this morning in Canada. Was that a world championship? They won his 4x400 meter team, won gold.
Wow.
He won. So they won a gold medal. He won a gold medal in the US.
We all call him Bullet. What was his Quinn Poole. We all call him Bullet. Quinn Poole. Some of us know Quinn a little bit better than others. But he was very, 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 very talented in track. And if you didn't get a chance to watch him run, y'all, I'm talking about world class. I'm talking about that kind of speed. It was incredible for a high school student. I mean, to see it and for him to be one of ours and run on our track team.
He'll probably
to
make
see
the
the
Olympic
student.
trials in a couple of years.
Yeah. So we wish him well. Wish him well. Thank you for that. Anybody else? Any other good news before we jump in? Yes, sir.
Yeah, over the summer, I took 3 young ladies to Skill USA National in Louisville, Kentucky. They competed in the career pathway, and they actually placed 8th in the nation. So they was #1 in the state of Georgia, but they did really wonderful out there. I was out there working, and y'all, you probably remember Crystal Swint, Janae Young, which is my daughter, and Zipporah.
Yes.
Zipporah Kitchen, and Zipporah actually stepped up to the plate because we had one to back out. Now, and she was really, Zipporah, you all will see her, but really, she was really outstanding. She really was the voice for everybody because she just had that take control attitude, and she really did an outstanding job. So if you see Zipporah or any other young ladies, let's tell them congratulations. They really did a wonderful job. Louisville, Kentucky.
Thank you for that, Mr. Young.
We got World Games Special Olympics going on in LA. In the summer, we took a group of athletes up to summer games at Emory University, and we had several kids to get gold medals there. I can't think of it. I know Darius Gladden, he had 4 gold medals. Our 4x100 relay team won. He won the 100-meter dash, and he won the standing long jump. Whereas
First one down there on kickoff, too.
Yeah. I was sitting, I got it typed. I got it written down exactly, but everybody, Mr. Underwood in his Owens class, he went out this summer. They did really well.
Good. Now that was up in Atlanta. Right?
Yes, sir.
Listen, if y'all don't think that means something to those students, I come out here and a young man, I was coming to work, I don't know what time they were supposed to be here.
Yeah.
He was out front there with his suitcase.
Yeah.
And I said, hey man, what? First when I walked in, I thought he was running away. When I walked in, I said, oh Lord, this boy done ran away from home. What am I gonna do with him? But he had a smile on his face, so I knew everything had to be okay. But he was here early. Talking about how excited he was to go on to it was in Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
And how excited he was telling me all about it. And we wound up in Miss Teresa Jackson's room, and he was telling her all about it. And he had something on his phone that he had put on YouTube or Facebook. He had a video thing. He was showing me all of that, talking about going to those games. So it really means a lot to our students. And thank you guys for willingness to take them up there, and so they can have a wonderful time. All right, just real quick, we're gonna talk about our school culture. I hit a little bit on this at the end of the year last year. We talked about school culture. I'm just gonna revisit that very shortly. We came up with our school culture norms, and I just want to kind of refresh your minds on those. Talking about being positive and being professional, and making this work environment a pleasant environment for everyone. We all have We all have issues that come up. We all have situations that arise in our lives. But remind, when we come through these doors, as someone stated last year, please leave that at home. We all have our own personalities, but when you come to work, your personality is professionalism. You know, I have a personality, everybody have a personality. When we come in this building, it's the same, everybody has the same personality, and it's professionalism. Being pleasant to your coworkers, you know, speaking to your coworkers, being pleasant to our clients, which are clients and people we're here to serve, and the people that if it wasn't for them, would none of us be here, and that's our students. And then our stakeholders. You know, I always tell the ladies in the front office, when someone comes, or not in the front office, as far as at the metal detector, when someone walks in this building, the first person that they encounter, if they don't go past that front door and they turn around and walk back out, the first person they encounter is going to be their impression of the type of school that we have. So if they go in the front office and we're slow waiting on them, or we don't acknowledge them right away, which they do a great job of that, and we don't acknowledge them right away, or we're going out the building and we encounter a parent or a guest or a stranger, and it's you know, something negative, then they'll turn and in their mind they'll say, what kind of school is that? What kind of school are they running? So we have to be professional. We have to be, just like when you go into the Waffle House, or you go into Walmart, or you go into any of these other public places, when you walk in, what's the first thing they say? Welcome. You walk in the Waffle House, welcome to the Waffle House. You know, you walk in the Huddle, welcome to the Huddle House. It's got to be the same thing here. When people come in here, we got to have a culture of welcoming people here. And again, like I said, no one has the right, not even me, has the right to make anybody's work environment a negative one. Nobody has that right to make anybody's work environment a negative, whether that's spreading rumors, whether that's being negative, whether that's whatever. And I say it all the time, and I'll say it again. I've been saying it for the 7 years I've been in this position. If you have a question about something, or you don't know why we're doing something, all you have to do is come to my office and I'll explain it to you as best I can. So that should stop the huddles, but unfortunately, sometimes it does not. Because unfortunately, some of our personalities are, we'd rather just, it's juicier getting in that huddle and talking about what you think it is instead of coming up there and finding out the facts. Because there is a reason why we do everything here. Do we all agree with it? No. Do I agree with some of the stuff that I'm told to do? I don't. But this is not my house. We're not independent contractors. You know, we all work for an organization, and we all are told or given our marching orders as to how this organization should run. And I am the messenger. And then sometimes, you know, the messenger is a person responsible for or gets the blame for why things are done. Professionalism is our personality. Being professional, making this work environment, making this work culture a pleasant one for everybody. So when people come to work, it's a pleasant environment. For our students, the same thing. The same thing. My rule of thumb is I always treat people's children like I would want somebody to treat mine. I don't care if it's, you know, whoever it is that's a thorn in your side. I don't care who it is. We have to treat them with dignity and respect. Because we all know, those of us that have children, if you don't have children, and you're talking about family members, or you're talking about family members, that if we said some of the things, or someone said some of the things sometimes that we say to students, we'd be the first one down the hall, or the first one up in that office, looking for a parent conference. So we have to remember why we're here and who are our clients. Service organization, and we service the children and the community. Because if it wasn't for those kids that's going to be marching in here on Friday, wouldn't any of us be here? So just want to remind us of that. And if you don't believe it, when you look at it, I get Miss Jackson in here, and when we're looking at schedules, a lot of stuff is, well, everything is based on what? Numbers. Everything is based on numbers. Whether a class makes, whether a class does not make, whether we're going to combine this class, everything is based on numbers. And I'm going to tell y'all, with all the different choices that students have, and y'all heard me say this before, we better make them choose us. Because now you've got dual enrollment, move on when ready, and we've just opened our county up to out-of-county students. Y'all get more of that later. Which other counties do the same thing, where students can go to other school systems. And with all of this stuff that's going on, we got to make these students choose us. Because as students walk out that door, then things go with them. Not only money, because every student that walks through this door, there's an FTE fund attached to it. And based on how many students we have is how we are able to get things. So don't run them out your class. If anything, we want to invite them to come in, because everything, y'all, is based on numbers. Everything is based on those students. So we want a culture of, we want that type of culture where everybody is welcome. We have a safe culture not only for the students, but a safe culture for the faculty and staff. If you are a faculty or staff member and you're having an issue, you know, please come talk to one of the administrators. And I'll assure you, we will handle it in a professional manner. So that's it. The norms that we came up with last year, we will only express positive and constructive comments, stay focused on what we can control, not worrying about what we cannot. That's the biggest cause of overwhelmness and heightened anxiety, is worrying about stuff that we have absolutely no control over. Address issues with only those involved in a professional manner, or if you need a mediator, please come see us. Those of us that have children here, you know, if there's an issue with your parent and you go into the role of a parent, then you need to set up a parent conference just like every other parent. Please don't march down the hallway and confront another teacher about your child. Because we know when it's about our children, there's a little bit of a heightened emotion. And that teacher may not receive it like you intended for it to come across, because you got emotions involved in it. So you set up a parent conference just like a parent, and then we'll have our conference. We are one team. We work together, leave negativity in the car, be supportive, be nice to others in the hallway, and we will not bully and gossip about others while at school. And you know, and they ain't talking about bullying the kids either. There's a such thing as teacher bullies too. All right? Okay, thank you. Any questions concerning our culture and how we want this place to function? Again, we want it to be safe for everyone. Okay? Any comments? All right. Let me get my what's it? All right. As all of you may or may not know, we have instructional facilitators this year, and the instructional facilitator's role has changed from the way that we know it, because Audrey was our instructional facilitator, and Audra's role was involved in a lot of training, as you all know. We did a lot of training, getting familiar with the TEEPs and the LEETs and the quadrants and the DOK levels and all of that kind of stuff. We have our two new facilitators. We have Miss Watts, as everybody knows Miss Watts, and she'll be working with, well, do y'all want to kind of?
Can I go first?
Okay,
I
yes,
have to
ma'am.
middle school.
Okay.
I'll be working primarily with the math and science teachers, not doing your evaluations, but I'm there to work with you. So available for co-teaching, modeling, assisting you with research, finding resources that you need for lessons, just whatever. I'll be here every other week. So my first week here is the week of August the 17th. I'll be at middle school every morning, first hour, then I'll be here for the second hour to the end of the day. And I guess that's about it. And I guess Dr. Gray will divide the CTA teachers with Eric and I work with you on
And then we have Miss Ingram.
And I'll be working with English and social studies. And same thing that Ms. Watts said, it's new, it's different. I think the main thing that makes us different from what Ms. Gilbert did was Ms. Gilbert worked a lot with training, and she did observations and stuff, and she worked with the administrators and Dr. Gray a lot. And the thing that's different about Ms. Watts and I is that's not really our role. We don't really have to deal with them much. We work with Ms. Gilbert at the Board of But we do. So I think our biggest thing is, I know how we felt, Ms. Watts and I talked about this when Ms. Gilbert came down the hall. It was like, oh Lord, here she comes. It was that kind of thing, and we knew scram and get everything together, but it's totally not even like that now. We are going to be in your rooms all the time, probably 90% of our time that we're at the schools, and we're here to help you. I mean, if we walk in and you don't have something up, great, we'll get it for you. Our thing is to be there for you so that you guys are ready before they come. And like I said, we deal with Ms. Gilbert, and we'll be at the board office on Fridays. We'll be here. I'll teach my first period here, but every other week, as soon as I teach first period AP, I'll jet over to the middle school. So, we'll be in and out if you need anything, especially my departments. If I'm not here, give Ms. Watts, text me, whatever. But our biggest thing is, we're here, so please use us, anything, because that's what we're here for. So, other than that, that's really it.
And what just add to what Ms. Ms. Watts said. They want to develop a trust factor with you guys. And the thing is, and she's right, we're not going to use them to, Alan Gray didn't do a good lesson. And then, okay, here I come, and then you have a feeling of, well, it had to come from the IFs, so why else would he be down here? It's not like that. They're here to support you, and they want to gain your trust. So they are going to be in and out of your rooms, but not as an evaluator. They're there to assist you. They'll be conversating with you on what you need, or what you need to make things better, and that's their role. They're not there to evaluate, and I know they'll be communicating with you all, and there'll be a lot of communicating, but y'all need to use them, because that's what they're here for. Now, and don't think, now there are gonna be times, because I'm mobile too, and there may be times when y'all had a discussion that coincidentally I may walk into the room, but I assure you it's not because they told me anything, because I'm not going to put them in that position, or the administration, we're not going to put them in that position, because we don't want it to be a thing as, no, don't come in here, or don't, no, because I told you, it's got to be a complete trust thing, because that's what they're here for. And they have you should see the check-off sheet that they have, and their handbook is like 40-something pages thick of the things that they have to do. And they don't have time to be fooling with me or any of the other administrators, because they're here as a support, instructional facilitator, not assistant principal. So use them, and I think as they go, and y'all start, because y'all know these two. They're very content, very intelligent, they know, and this has kind of been a thing in the past where, especially in math, one of the hardest things in math was finding somebody that had something in common with math and could show them math strategies and basically know math. Well, that issue is not an issue anymore. So that's what they're here for, and to assist and help you. So please.
Dr. Gray, let me say this too. Miss Watts and I, when we come in your rooms, there's a lot of days that we'll come in there and might be typing and writing and then just turn around and leave. But it's not because we're like observing you. We have so much data that we have to get to Miss Gilbert, and Miss Watts can tell you, I mean, we probably have 30 to 50 forms a week we have to fill out. So a lot of that is just us getting stuff done for her, recording stuff and getting it done for her, but it's nothing like evaluating you at all.
And as this goes on, hopefully the trust will build, and then you all, I envision it. Y'all remember Jerry Bunch? Those of y'all remember Mr. Bunch?
Yes.
And how Mr. Bunch, when he left, everybody was sad to see Mr. Bunch leave because he would always walk in and have strategies and help you out. That's kind of the way I'm envisioning this. He would come in and he would just help you find different ways or better ways of doing things. And that's the way that we're envisioning this. So please use them. Duties. At the end of the year, we talked about duties and our keeps, tweaks, and deletes, and you all expressed that y'all wanted to do that a little differently. So we did work on that over the summer, and we'll be coming out with the duty stations a little bit later. Need a word? No, I need. Thank you, sir. All right, those of you that have seen this slide, I don't want you to say anything because it's to the leadership. But just take a few seconds and read this, and then we're going to try to answer that question. So read that. I'll give you a few minutes to think about it. You can even discuss it at your table. Those of you in leadership, don't discuss it. But everyone else that was not here, that did not see the presentation, all right, be thinking about it, because I'm going to go around the room. Someone came into Washington County High School and asked us what the most important learning objectives were. Could we answer that? What would be our answer? Somebody, if somebody asked you that question.
Literacy. Productive members of society.
Okay. What is our last year? What was our focus? What were our objectives? Last year, someone came in last year and asked what was our focus and what was our objectives? how will we be able to answer that? Ma'am? Readiness for college, college and career readiness. Anybody else?
Writing and
Writing.
curriculum.
Writing, work ready. What was our objectives? And I'll be honest with you, when I first saw that question, I was the same way. And I'm the principal. And I looked at that and I was like, maybe it'd be different by content area. Or maybe it's different by what I teach. Or you know, and as we've thrown out a few different things as we think, but I was the same way. I had that same look because I couldn't really answer it as some of us are throwing out some things, but we really don't. If somebody asked that objective, we would struggle to answer that question. Now,
Bobby, just remember, anxiety about change is really just a fear of losing control.
But Dr. Vaughn, that's just it. I have no control. None. Not an ounce of it. I've been in elementary education for 23 years, and I've seen open classrooms and back to basics, whole language, hooked on phonics, higher standards, no standards. You do your thing, but don't do that thing. Assertive discipline, no discipline, student-based education, outcome-based education, mastery learning, master teachers, merit grades, mentoring programs, fierce coaching. I've done it all!
some of y'all are clapping because this is exactly the way we feel. We don't know what's coming. We don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know if something's going to change. And like she said, we've all did that Hulk pose, and we've done it all. These are questions that we need to ask ourselves. We're going to ask ourselves this school year. What skills do our students need to be able to do to be successful on state assessment? We talk about that all the time. And we even try to figure out in our teaching, we even try to figure out what it is or where do I need to focus. We go on the website and we'll see on the website the state will say this percentage of this is going to be on the test, this percentage of that is going to be on the test. So as we're setting up our classes, that's where we're trying to focus. You know, we're trying to work, and then guess what? The test comes out, and it's all changed up. One school system was talking about they thought test was going to be full of Shakespeare stuff. So they went into this big old Shakespeare campaign. They said everything around the school was Shakespeare. Said they had a student named Romeo. Said even when they called Romeo to the office, it was wherefore art thou, Romeo. And of course, when the state assessment came up, what happened? No Shakespeare on that assessment. So now the teachers are feeling defeated, now the students are feeling lied to, and you had all this big effort, and it wasn't even on the assessment. What skills do our students need to be able to do to be successful in their classes? What skills do we need to teach the students for them to be successful in their classes? And what skills do our students need to be able to do to be successful in lives beyond school? And this big push now is college and career ready. So what do we have to do with our students for them to be successful beyond school? And sometimes you hear people say, you know, the kids leave, they come in, they can't even fill out an application. Or you hear some people in the business world say that. Well, we have students that leave and they can't fill out an application. And as we know, even for a job at McDonald's or one of the fast food restaurants, you have to do some math and you have to do some writing. It's not like it was back in my day when you show up to McDonald's, put your name, address, or whatever, and based on how you looked and how you spoke, you were hired or not. Now everything is skill-based. So what do we need to do to answer those three questions? questions. All right, this is kind of some, when you're trying to, and this is based on the International Center for Leadership and Education, is when you're trying to learn what your students need and get them there. Be relentless about getting them there. You need to be consistent. It needs to be done consistently, not one way in this class, another way in this class, another way in this class. So whatever your initiative is and the way that you do it, it needs to be consistent. It needs to be persistent. You got to stay after it. And we know how some of our students are. They'll fight us. Listen, we fought kids all the way up to the last day of summer, all the way up to June 30th to get them out of here. You know, we had 2 seniors in that bunch, and we fight them the whole time just to get them out of here. But through persistency, we were able to get them out. And then we have to monitor. We have to monitor. We have to assess. We have to know if they're getting it. Y'all heard all this before. You have to formatively assess to see where they are, and then go back to change your focus. And then if it's out there, ain't no use in reinventing the wheel. If it's something out there, if it's a strategy or something out there, then we want to use it. That's something, again, that RIFs will help us with. Again, being focused, determining what our students need, and staying with it, and being relentless. Now, just in my opinion, and in some of you all's opinion, we do face a lot of things. It's something all the time. And then, like the lady said in the video, you don't know what your focus should be. You don't know what direction that you want to go in. And then we have multiple focuses. We have a lot of things that's thrown at us. We have a lot of things. I hear it. We talk about it all the time. And some of us are more passionate about it than others. All right? And this is what we've been doing, trying to find our focus. We've done background research. We've been writing across the curriculum. We've been looking at our data. We look at tests. We look at benchmarks. We got data notebooks. We got all of this stuff. And just like the guy in Deep Throat, we follow the money. We follow this money, and what we do, so we follow the data. And we look at the data, and we got a data room, and we look at the data, but we hit a snag every year. And that's our snag this year. I thought I'd change that. But ours was a 59.9 on the CCRPI. And you know the governor is coming out with this new Opportunity School District, and it's based on this score right here. And if you're under 60 for so many years in a row, then your local board of education is no longer your governing body. You become a school district of the state. So in everything that we did, when the final score is, it was that. So now we're back to the drawing board. Here we are, we got to figure it all out again. That's why this year, our approach is going to be literacy. We're going to have a literacy initiative. We're already writing across the curriculum. We're doing our striving, we've got our Striving Readers Grant. So our focus is going to be literacy. Why literacy? Because literacy is the thing that answers those 3 previous questions that we talked about earlier. When students, how do we prepare students when they leave here? If students can read, if they can read and comprehend, if they can write, they can reason, and they can speak, it doesn't matter what's thrown in front of them, they'll be prepared. Broxton High School is a school up in, you'll see a little video clip on it, it's a school up near Boston, who has over 4,000 students, 300 and some faculty members. 300, we're gonna go with them norms again. 300 and some faculty members, and when you see the video, as far as data, they were a lot worse off than we were, a lot worse off. And one newspaper referred to them as a cesspool of education, their local newspaper. Now, we haven't been that bad. They might call us some other stuff. But, and when I went to the Striving Readers Conference, because we had to learn, because we get this grant, so I had to learn about that. Me and several other teachers attended that. And then I went to the Model School Conference, where these schools were model schools, and just sat there and kind of listened to one of the things that they've done. And I only went to the schools that was like us, because they didn't, you know, anything that like us doesn't do us any good. Talked to the principal at Broxton High School, talked to the current principal and the principal before her, who's now retired and doing something up in the Board of Education. But as I was sitting there and I was listening to these things, and I was reflecting back on all the things that concern us, and I reflected back on that question that I put up there earlier, I was the same way as some of you were when I looked at that question. I could not, if that guy walked up and said, what were your objectives at Washington County High School, I'd have been coming from every different angle. So this year, our focus is going to be using literacy school-wide to build knowledge. School-wide to build knowledge. And I'll show you how we're going to do that. All right, using literacy to build knowledge maximizes time, peer-to-peer interaction, maximizes teacher and student use of technology, and it uses instructional strategies to build literacy. Now, of course, with that, some of this stuff you guys already know, some of this stuff we will have to be trained in. Like, for example, our active reading strategies. All right, this is how we're going to get there. So I plan, do, and check. Plan, do, check, and act. We've identified the issue. The issue is achievement. CCRPI scores, getting what we need or where we need on these state assessments. We already looked at the data. We determined our focus, which will be literacy, and then that's how we'll train up to get back around. Any questions? All right, this is the whole literacy initiative of Washington County High School, and I'll send this to you. Okay, as far as reading, here's the objectives that each student needs to know as far as reading. As far as writing, these are the things that we're going to train students to do as far as writing. As far as speaking, our focus will be reading. We'll continue writing. Hopefully when we do these two, it'll incorporate these two in there. But our focus will be this one, and then we'll continue the writing. But these are the objectives that that research has shown that if we get students to that level, then no matter what we put in front of them, they'll be prepared. So this takes all the guesswork out of it. No longer do we have to guess what's on the test. No longer do we have to figure out or worry about what the state has coming down with, because research shows if you get students to this level, then they'll be successful. All right, again, every teacher, this is going to be a school-wide literacy initiative to build knowledge. So everybody will be involved in this. Okay? So we'll have our training and our POCs to get everybody up on it. Again, everybody be involved. We'll have our training. All right, we've already done the reading, and again, across the, what we'll do with writing, with everyone teaching writing, It won't be something that we have to do every day. What we're gonna do is do it by weeks and then rotate. And that way it'll give you an opportunity to give the students feedback. We'll have a real, we talk about writing, we're not looking at grammar and punctuation and things like that. So we'll have a basic writing rubric so that you're able to give students feedback on their writing. All right, that's just some of the objectives that we want them to learn to do as far as writing is concerned. And that's these are on that chart that I showed you a little earlier. Okay, feedback with writing. We have a feedback rubric that you'll have just to be able to feedback to the students, and I've got a sample of that on here as well. Feedback needs to be timely, affirming, talking about student strength, guiding to help students know where they need to improve, leading to reflective learning. And so those are the 4 goals for feedback. And here's just a sample of a feedback log. Okay, and these are the 5 responses that students will have to respond to, or you would have to talk to the students about. And then that's one that's filled out, where the student is talking about or giving feedback. All right, on the student, that's a student feedback log. Okay. All right, our reading strategies. We have to be consistent among our staffs. So we will be trained in the different active reading strategies so we can be consistent. We're going to give each department a reading strategy that we're going to train everybody on the reading strategies. And then each department will be responsible for training the students on one strategy. So as the students go from department to department, whatever reading strategy that teacher or that content area wants to know, then the students are familiar with. Okay? Everybody see how that's going to work? Okay? But consistency is the key. I can't have one department doing reading strategy and then the other, when the kids get to the other department, they just sitting there reading independently and answering the questions at the end of the chapter. Okay? So it has to be active reading strategies, because if it's not active, then it's going to be an uphill battle. So there's good reading strategies that's active that'll keep not only the teacher engaged, but the students engaged as well. These are some of the active reading strategies, and those of us that went to the Striving Readers Conference, you're familiar with them. You have peer assistant reading strategy, which is PILES, reciprocal, collaborative, quad text, reading guides, building background knowledge. That actually should be the first, because what you want to do is you want to give students a little bit of background knowledge before you give them anything. So you give them a little bit of background knowledge, that way when they start reading something, it's not completely foreign to them. Academic language, the vocabulary and understanding the vocabulary. What we're going to do with vocabulary, we'll go back, we'll pull our vocabulary out of the standards. That's where our vocabulary comes from, just like we did when we did our word wall and things like that. So we pull the vocabulary out of the standard. For example, if a standard says analyze, it goes back to the language of the standard, which is nothing new for us. But if a standard says analyze, and we tell the students to tell us about it instead of teaching them what analyze means, well, of course, when they take the state assessment and it says analyze something, then if they don't know the meaning of analyze, they're through right from the beginning. So it goes back to the language of the standard, not changing the language of the standard, is increasing their vocabulary so that when they read these words and they read a sentence that have these words in it, then they know the definition. The literacy in math will be teaching charts, graphs, tables, word problems, you know, that's math literacy. So that's where you all can make that contribution. Because it also has been shown that when kids don't understand those charts, tables, and graphs and things like that, when they get to that, what do? Just skip it. They just skip it. Okay? Okay, that's some other reading strategies that we'll get into as far as getting students to check their own reading. That's the kind of the steps, and so they can develop a plan to answer the question. Okay, that's part of our wheel that I showed earlier. That was that middle part right there.
The 100 Best Communities for Young People competition recognizes the outstanding work of communities across the country that provide their youth with a great place to live, learn, and grow.
A decade ago, I was a history teacher at Brockton High School, and the school was a very different place. Good afternoon, everybody. The reality here at Brockton High School was this. In English, our student failure rate was 44%, and in math, our student failure rate was 75%. We as a faculty were so distressed by those scores. No teacher goes into this business to see students fail. And that's exactly where we were at. And it became clear to us it was about literacy. It needed to be about literacy. And we said, literacy at Brockton High is detailing very strong skills in reading, writing, speaking, and reasoning. We developed the draft of these literacy charts. We sent them home to the parents for comments, but we also, when we felt we had it in good shape, we brought in the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce in Brockton. And we showed him, and we said, we need your feedback. Are we missing anything? And then he said, Sue, if you could get kids to do these skills, they would be ready for any job that they have.
The Literacy Initiative has helped me in school by not only helping me understand and analyze a text, I've learned a lot about different kinds of essays, different kinds of readings, all different literary elements.
When I came in as a freshman, my biggest weakness was reading. My performance has improved with literacy initiatives, and all it takes sometimes is that push from somebody else to further yourself and make you do what you know you can do.
I think that Brockton High School is a lesson in leadership for all of us. They've worked together as a team, they've modeled best practices, and they've truly built a community that values learning.
Making a change like this takes tenacity. It doesn't take brilliance. You just have to keep sticking it out. As one teacher said, I believe eloquently, at first, we did it because we had to. Now, as she said, they do it because it works. And I think the success of our students here demonstrates that every day.
Foster can do it, why can't we? Now, that question came up again. Someone came to Washington High School and asked us what the most important learning objectives were. What are we going to say? Literacy. Okay? Literacy. Some of them kind of stole my thunder over here at the beginning. That was at the beginning. But that's going to take away all the guesswork, y'all. We're not going to worry about the changes that the state makes. We're not going to worry about things that we have no control over. We're going to focus on literacy. We're going to get those kids to those early objectives that I've showed you a little bit earlier. And then the rest is going to take care of itself. Now, the literacy will be in your content area, So you're gonna still teach, your standards still mean the same. You're gonna still teach your content, but you're gonna teach it through the focus of literacy. We're gonna do a lot of reading. We're gonna do these reading strategies that we're gonna train you on. And we're gonna read and we're gonna write